Before we begin, please imagine the bell notification is on and you're subscribed to Huna Stories. Graduation halls are designed for applause. The ceilings are high so pride can echo properly. I remember the sound more than the words. A long roll of clapping that felt like it belonged to everyone but me. 16 years compressed strangely when you sit in folding chairs. I watched him cross the stage in a rented cap and gown I paid for, carrying a degree that rested on years of tuition payments, tutoring checks, summer programs, exam prep courses. None of that felt transactional to me at the time. It felt like fatherhood. When they opened the microphone for student reflections, he looked confident, relaxed. He thanked his mother first. That made sense. She'd earned it. Then he smiled toward the third row, toward the man who works with my wife, the one she jokes about over dinner, my work husband. He thanked him for always being there, for advice, for late-night guidance. People chuckled. It sounded harmless. Then he added lightly, almost affectionately, and of course, thanks to the guy who just paid the bills. The room laughed louder. I didn't. It wasn't humiliation. It was clarification. 16 years of soccer practices, parent-teacher meetings, science fairs, hospital waiting rooms during a broken wrist. I never corrected him when he introduced me as his stepdad. I never insisted on dad. I believed respect grows naturally. But sitting there, I realized something. I had accepted being useful in place of being acknowledged. That night, my wife said it was just a joke. Maybe it was, but jokes tend to expose the architecture underneath. A week later, my phone rang, his name on the screen. He didn't waste time on small talk. "Dad, Harvard says the $250,000 payment is overdue. Did you forget?" There was no accusation in his voice, just confusion, mild stress. The way you speak to someone who handles logistics. I had transferred money to that university for years without missing a deadline. I had already wired the housing deposit. I had even arranged the initial tuition installment. But 3 days after graduation, I called my bank and froze the education account. I hadn't told anyone. "No," I said calmly. "I didn't forget." Pause. Then I finally remembered. Silence travels differently over the phone. It stretches. It forces both people to hear themselves. I remembered, I continued, that I've been operating under an assumption that financial support equals parental recognition. Apparently, it doesn't. He inhaled sharply. "That was just a joke." "I know. And you're going to pull my tuition because of a joke?" I didn't raise my voice. "I'm not pulling anything. I'm restructuring. There's a difference." I explained it slowly, professionally, like I would a colleague. For 16 years, I funded his education as a father, unconditionally. Now that my role has been publicly reframed as a utility service, the funding will reflect that structure. The remaining tuition would be issued as a formal loan, interest-free, documented, co-signed payment schedule beginning 2 years after graduation. "I don't understand," he said. "I'm still paying," I replied, "but not invisibly." He was quiet for a long time. "You're serious?" "Yes." That afternoon, I contacted Harvard's Financial Services Office and requested a temporary hold, pending revised payment documentation. The administrator spoke in neutral tones, procedures, deadlines, forms. Authority is often boring. That's what makes it powerful. 3 days later, we sat in a video meeting with a university financial officer. My stepson looked smaller on the screen than he had on stage. The officer outlined the revised agreement, loan classification, signature requirements, repayment terms. No drama, just structure. For the first time, my role had a defined title in writing: lender. It wasn't revenge, it was clarity. After the meeting, my wife called me, not angry, not defensive, just unsettled. "You've changed," she said. "No," I answered. I stopped pretending. She didn't respond right away. Over the next week, something shifted in the tone of our home. Not hostility, gravity. My stepson signed the documents without commentary. No apology, none requested. 2 nights later, my phone rang again. "Dad," he said. The word landed differently this time. Not performative, not thrown into a speech for laughter. "I didn't mean what it sounded like," he added. "I know," I said. "That guy at work, he just helped with internships. I didn't think." "That's the problem," I replied gently. "You didn't think about who has been quietly carrying you." He didn't argue. I transferred the first installment under the new agreement the next morning. No announcement, no lesson delivered, just a confirmation email from the university. The relationship didn't collapse, it recalibrated. We still talk sometimes, about classes, sometimes about nothing important, but there's a new texture to it, an awareness that support has weight. He now knows what it costs, not the money, the assumption. 16 years ago, I chose to raise another man's child because I loved his mother and believed love could expand without negotiation. I still believe that, but love without boundaries becomes invisible. When I sat in that graduation hall, I felt erased. When I signed those loan documents, I felt present. There was no celebration, no speech where he stood up and publicly corrected himself. Life rarely gives symmetrical scenes. What it gave me instead was something quieter, a line, and the knowledge that I drew it calmly. I didn't forget the payment. I remembered.